So, we're all aware of two fairly popular far-right cartoonists, and you know, we make a lot of jokes about them. We have a little fun, we do a little trolling, okay? Number one is Stonetoss, Amogus. That's where Amogus came from a meme of his somehow that was edited a bit, and you know, he makes you know, not too great comics. Most of them just center around transphobia, racism, anti-civil rights, yada yada yada, that type of stuff. Second one is Ben Garrison. Now Ben Garrison is more mainstream than Stonetoss. Stonetoss is into some heavily like crazy race realist shit, and I don't think, you know, Ben Garrison is that overt with a lot of the stuff he says, but nevertheless still very far right, you know, type of content with stuff here. Ben Garrison also labels everything all the time, and that's, you know, running joke how literally everything in his comics have like 1,000,001 labels. So make sure that the high IQ individuals reading his comics actually understand what's going on. But nevertheless, there was an event that occurred way back in January, okay, and it was the Capitol riots. So, you know, riot, I suppose it was one. Capitol attack, Capitol riot, it goes by multiple names. If you, for some reason or somehow, have not heard about it, it's a collection of far right-wingers in the US who stormed the Capitol building in order to protest the stealing of the election. Of course, a complete and utter unbased conspiracy theory, and there is no semblance of like truth or any evidence indicating that the election was rigged or stolen in any way, shape, or form. But nevertheless, these, you know, these Trump supporters, these far-right agitators, you know, Proud Boys were there, some Atomwaffen people were there, obviously just general Trump supporters were there. They stormed the Capitol building and caused a lot of havoc, basically, caused a lot of chaos there. And a lot of them have been arrested and, you know, like sentenced since then, so that's good. Now, the connection between these two is, I think, between the artists and this event, is I think it could provide a good opportunity to really pinpoint the pristine consistency and critical thinking skills of the people who do these types of comics. And in this example, we're talking about Ben Garrison and Stonetoss. So we can start with two comics that were made, you know, in January, back when this actually happened. And here is the one from Ben Garrison. So we can see here, January 2021. Can you hear us now? It's a Trump supporter who has you know, lifted the top of the Capitol building. He's yelling at three different people here: Mitch McConnell, the turtle, Mike Pence, and Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. And they're yelling at them, and then there's, you know, Trump, keep America great again, drain the swamp. And basically the message here is that it's the people, it's the MAGAers, they're rising up, they're really, you know, pushing it to the power, telling them, you know, or, you know, like sticking it to the people in charge of the power, telling them, hey, listen to the people, this election was stolen, yada yada yada, whatever. So clearly in support of the Capitol riots, indicating that, hey, these were true patriots, true Americans who went in here and, you know, told the people in the ivory tower of the Capitol what the people really feeling, right? So just typically like very positive feelings towards the riot and what happened and all of that. Now Stonetoss made a similar comic right here, Down with the Establishment, watch out coming through. So basically this is how Stonetoss draws Antifa, and it's an Antifa person throwing a brick through a Starbucks. And they're like, down with the establishment, you know, so as their characterization of like the left-wing revolutionaries. And then in the next frame, we have a bunch of people who, you know, stormed the Capitol building, right? You can tell by the gear, the fact that they have Pelosi's computer, and, you know, it was published also following the riots. And they're pushing aside this Antifa person, right? Watch out. So the sort of message is there that, hey, these people just revolutionary aesthetic, okay? They don't actually do anything that's actually attacking the establishment, but these right-wing patriots, they're the ones actually, you know, doing things and actually, you know, indicating showing a message to the people in power and actually taking down the establishment, you know. So these were the beliefs of, you know, prevailing right-wing beliefs for these you know, these comic artists, and you know, it was a pretty popular narrative. However, as you know, you saw a bit later, people are a bit more skeptical about, you know, what actually happened there, and most people are just readily available to condemn it in the mainstream media. So what has Ben Garrison and Stonetoss decided to do? Well, they decided to completely and utterly 180 on what happened at the Capitol riots in a beautiful act of intellectual consistency. So you see here a comic from June 2021 from Ben Garrison. You see the FBI cat, you know, pushing the small, vulnerable MAGA mouse towards the trap that is the Capitol building, right? You know, quite a downgrade from this big, strong gentleman over here to characterizing this MAGA movement as a poor, innocent little mouse being tricked into engaging the Capitol building. So obviously this is a complete 180 of what actually happened in the Capitol. So this, of course, has the underlying conspiracy theory that, you know, the election was actually stolen, and so does this one, not directly, but, you know, still implicitly given the rest of his comics. But in addition to that, there's also another conspiracy theory, which is that it was all orchestrated by the FBI. They actually, you know, coerced them into going there and making the right-wing movement look bad. And these two positions are completely incompatible. They're at odds with one another. This one posits that it was real Americans coming in there, driven by the love of the eagle and a desire to see this country return to truth and see the election actually, you know, validated in the correct manner. While this one here indicates that, oh, there weren't actually, you know, the real reasons behind that weren't actually anything in regards to what actually occurred there and, you know, the election or anything. It was just the FBI coercing everybody. Similarly, Stonetoss also made this comic here. All right, today we're arresting the folks who protested the Capitol. And then the FBI people just turn their guns at one another, you know? Obviously, the implication here is that it was the FBI that was protesting the Capitol. It was, you know, like sort of covert or fake agitators, you know, put there by the FBI to make the right wing look bad. Of course, this is also completely and utterly incompatible with his original comic, which looked like this, which illustrates, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's like a little FBI symbol somewhere on these two dudes, but I haven't seen it yet personally. But yeah, in this comic, it is diehard MAGA patriots, you know, Trump supporters, you know, thin blue line people that are coming in here and sticking it to the establishment. And then in this next comic, it's not that. It's actually, it was all the FBI that protested the Capitol and that orchestrated the whole thing to make the right wing look bad. So, you know, at the end of the day, this is just another beautiful example of the absolute inconsistency behind the positions of these really like far-right conspiracy theory types, and even the popular ones, right? Stonetoss and Ben Garrison, I would say, like, at least personally, they're the two most popular conservative, you know, comic creators, or it's not really media figures because they don't really do that much of a media appearance, but, you know, comic book creators and comic creators and stuff like that. It's just, it's really, it's incredible. The amount that they're willing to just completely flip-flop on the events, you know, just like that, instantly, without any hesitation or whatever, just because it's what works into the ideological narrative. There's no underlying currents of critical thinking, of a coherent understanding of what actually happened. It's just flip-flopping to whatever will benefit them most politically at the given time. So yeah, Ben Garrison and Stonetoss, they have retreated the position, just flip-flopping as it sees fit, and are both once again, you know, people with terrible political opinions and even worse critical thinking skills.